If you've walked into a Dollar Tree lately and felt a little less certain than you used to, you are not imagining it. A store that once felt simple is no longer simple. And that matters. Because when a discount store stops being predictable, the cheapest looking item can become the most expensive mistake on the shelf. This is not a video about blaming bargain shoppers. It is not about telling anyone they should have done better. The system changed first. Prices changed. Pack sizes changed. Store layouts changed. And now protecting your money takes more attention than it used to. So this report comes down to one thing. How do you know when a dollar store still helps you and when it quietly starts costing you more than it saves? Because that is where a lot of households are getting squeezed now. Not by one huge bad purchase, by a dozen small ones that looked harmless. Dollar Tree used to mean something very specific. You walked in, made a mental list, and you knew the basic rule. One price. Simple math. Easy decisions. That kind of store helped people on fixed incomes, families stretching the last week of the month, and anyone who needed a quick emergency item without overthinking it. Now the experience is different. Some items are still close to what people expect. Some are not. And once a store stops feeling uniform, every aisle becomes a decision. That is where the fatigue begins. Because the real cost is not just the price tag. It is the extra attention, the checking, the comparing, the second guessing, the slow walk back and forth while you try to remember whether this little package is actually the better deal. Older shoppers feel that pressure first, but honestly, almost everyone feels it now. And that is why the first lesson matters. If shopping feels harder, that does not mean you are failing. It means the store is asking more of you. Let's start with the part that still makes sense. There are categories where a discount store can still protect your money, especially when the item is small, specific, and not something you need in large amounts. Greeting cards are a good example. At regular stores, cards can be surprisingly expensive for something that gets read once and then put away. If you need a birthday card, a thank you card, or a simple seasonal card, a discount store can still be a sensible stop. Party basics can also still work. Paper plates, napkins, cups, gift wrap, ribbons, small decorations. These are the kinds of items where the value is often in convenience and simplicity, not long-term durability. If you use them occasionally, the discount aisle may still give you what you need without the premium markup. Seasonal decor is another area where caution and value can live together. A small wreath, a table decoration, a few holiday accents. These are not life-changing purchases. They are the kind of thing that should not eat a big share of your budget. So if the price is truly low and the item looks decent, it can still be worth it. Then there are the practical utility items. Storage bins, baskets, small organizers, simple kitchen tools, basic craft supplies. These can still be useful if you are buying them for a specific purpose. A container that helps you organize a shelf, a basket that clears clutter, a small kitchen tool that replaces a broken one. Those are the kinds of purchases that can still make sense because they solve a problem without asking for a large investment. Basic personal care products can also be a mixed but useful category. Some toiletries, travel-size items, combs, toothbrushes, hair accessories, soap, and similar everyday basics may still compare well if you check size and quality carefully. The value is strongest when you are buying one item to fill a gap, not trying to build a whole supply system out of tiny packages. And that last part matters. Dollar stores often look best when you are buying a one-time item. They often look worse when you are buying something you use every week. That is where the hidden cost starts. Paper goods are one of the first places people get trapped because the package looks cheap before you look closer. A small pack of paper towels can feel like a win at the register. But if you compare sheets, rolls, or total square footage, the bargain can disappear very fast. The same goes for napkins and tissues. A package may look low-priced, but the count is smaller. The sheets may be thinner. The total use you get from the package may be less than you expect. And if you end up buying it again sooner, the real cost is not just the sticker price, it is the replacement cycle. Cleaning supplies can do the same thing. A bottle that seems affordable may be smaller than the version at a larger store. Or it may be a formula that requires more product each time. or it may simply not last long enough to be the better buy for a home that cleans regularly. This is where unit price matters more than the headline price. If you do not have a habit of checking the ounce count, the number of sheets, the number of bags, or the count per piece, discount shopping can quietly turn into expensive shopping. Food storage bags are another classic example. A small box can look cheap, but a larger box at a grocery store or warehouse club may give you a much better cost per bag. If you use them often, the lower shelf price is not the real number you care about. The real number is what each bag costs you over time. Snacks can also be misleading. A small package is easy to grab, easy to justify, and easy to forget. But if it has less food inside than you think, it may cost more per ounce than a larger package elsewhere. And if it is an impulse purchase instead of a planned one, the bargain becomes even weaker. That is the quiet truth behind discount pressure. Stores know that many people are tired. They know people want a fast decision. They know a low sticker price shortens the moment of hesitation. And that is exactly why these places can still be useful and still be dangerous at the same time. Because when you are stressed, you do not just buy products. You buy relief. You buy speed. You buy the feeling of being done. That feeling is expensive, and that is why unit price is not a technical detail. It is a protection tool. If one roll, one bag, one bottle, or one package has a lower sticker price but gives you less usable product, then the store has already shifted the burden onto your future self. You pay again sooner. You spend more trips replacing it. You lose time. You waste the difference in a way that never shows up on the shelf label. Now here is something many shoppers notice but do not always name. The store model itself asks more of you than it used to. You may have to read shelf tags more closely. You may have to compare prices category by category. You may need to check whether an item that used to be one price is now part of a different pricing tier. That extra attention sounds small, but for someone who shops while tired, juggling pain, dealing with memory issues, or trying to stay within a fixed monthly budget, it is not small at all. It becomes mental labor. And mental labor changes behavior. People get rushed. They default to what looks familiar. They stop comparing after a few aisles because the whole trip feels harder than it should. That is when the store wins, not because it is evil, but because confusion is profitable. So let's pause for a second and do a reality check. If you have felt less comfortable shopping in these stores lately, that is not a personal weakness. It is a sign that the pricing environment has become harder to navigate. The answer is not shame. The answer is a better system. Here is the system. First, ask whether the item is a one-time buy, a repeat buy, or a bulk use item. One-time buys are where discount stores can still shine. A birthday card, a storage basket, a backup kitchen tool, a seasonal decoration, a small organizer. These are items you may not need often, so the package size and long-term math matter less than the immediate usefulness. Repeat buys are where you slow down. Soap, paper towels, cleaning spray, trash bags, food storage bags, snacks. These items come back again and again, which means small differences in size and cost add up over time. Bulk use items are where you have to be the most careful. Anything you go through quickly deserves a price per unit comparison. If you use it every week, the shelf price alone does not tell the truth. Second, compare the right unit. Not just price. Price per ounce. Price per sheet. Price per bag. Price per piece. The number depends on the item. That is the real comparison shoppers need now, especially when the old simple one-price instinct no longer applies. Third, ask whether the purchase creates waste. Waste is part of the hidden cost people often ignore. If a cheaper product is flimsy, too small, poorly made, or inconvenient enough that you replace it early, then the bargain never really happened. If it forces extra trips, extra time, extra frustration, or extra buying later, that is cost. This is where a lot of cheap shopping stops being cheap. A little basket that cracks early, a storage container that does not seal well, a paper product that runs out too fast, a cleaning bottle that takes more of the product to do the same job. a snack package that satisfies for 10 minutes and disappears. None of these feel like disasters in the moment, but together, they quietly drain tight budgets. And that is the bigger point. Dollar Tree is not the story by itself. It is a case study. The real story is that retail now demands more detective work from ordinary households. You have to notice sizes. You have to notice quality. You have to notice whether an item is helping you or simply giving you the feeling of saving money. That is a very different skill than just hunting for the lowest sticker price. And if you grew up in a shopping world where the label meant what it said, this new world can feel unfair. Because it is unfair in one very specific way. It pushes the burden of verification onto you. That is not your fault. Now let's do the mid-video reset, because this is where the lesson widens. Think about the last few stores you visited. Not just one discount store. Any store. Did you notice how often you had to stop and compare? Did you find yourself checking unit prices more often than you used to? Did you feel like you were doing more work just to buy the same basic household items? That is the pattern. The problem is not that you are bad at shopping. The problem is that shopping itself has become a higher friction task. And once you see that, you stop taking every confusing price personally. You also stop falling for the idea that loyalty to a store is the same thing as value. It is not. A store is not your friend. A store is not your enemy either. It is a place with rules. And your job is to use it when it serves your household, then leave it when it stops doing that. That is what value shopping really means. Not getting emotionally attached to a logo. Not assuming the cheapest shelf tag is the best deal. Not turning every trip into a treasure hunt. It means making the store prove itself. So if you want a fast decision rule you can use anywhere, here it is. If the item is small, specific, and unlikely to be bought in bulk, a discount store may be a good stop. If the item is repeated often, compare the unit price before you trust the shelf price. If the item is flimsy, undersized, or likely to be replaced quickly, count the future cost, not just the current one. If the trip itself creates waste, like extra driving, extra stops, or buying things you did not really need, then the bargain is weaker than it looked. That is the whole test. And once you start using it, the aisles feel different. You stop reacting to the first low number you see. You start asking, what am I really getting? How long will it last? How soon will I have to buy it again? Is this helping me or just entertaining me for a moment? Those questions protect money. They also protect peace of mind. Because a lot of grocery pressure is not really about groceries. It is about the feeling that money is slipping through your fingers in tiny pieces. A small bag here, a small bottle there, a quick trip that should have been simple. Then the receipt arrives, and the total is higher than expected. That kind of spending does not feel dramatic, which is exactly why it works so well against households. So the answer is not panic, it is pattern recognition. In 2026, discount stores still have a role. That role is not to replace every other store. It is to fill very specific gaps at very specific moments. That is the healthy way to use them. Need a card? Fine. Need a small organizer? Fine. Need a simple seasonal item, a basic craft supply, a backup tool, or a cheap party basic? Fine. But if you are buying repeat-use household goods, it is worth slowing down and asking whether the low price is real or only temporary. Because the cheapest item is not always the cheapest choice. And that is especially true for households under pressure. When money is tight, waste hurts more. A bad purchase is not just a bad purchase. It is a missed opportunity. It is money that could have gone toward rent, medicine, gas, utilities, or a better quality item that lasts longer. That is why this is not about being frugal in a moral sense. It is about being strategic. The goal is not to suffer less at the register for a few minutes. The goal is to keep more of your money working for you after you leave the store. So here is the final pattern, all in one place. Dollar stores can still help when the item is small, specific, and not a repeat-use item. Dollar stores can quietly cost more when the package is smaller, the quality is weaker, or the item gets replaced often. And discount shopping becomes truly useful only when you stop asking, "Is this cheap?" and start asking, is this value? That one shift changes everything. It removes the guilt, it removes the guesswork, it gives you a way to walk any aisle without surrendering your judgment to the shelf tag. And once you start seeing stores this way, you do not need to shop harder. You just shop with more control. That is the real protection. Not loyalty, not luck. Control. If this kind of field report helps you see the system more clearly, stay with us. The next time prices get confusing, you will know how to read the store instead of letting the store read you.